Right, for this part of the tutorial I'm going to go through some of the things I didn't have a chance to go through in parts 4 and 5. One of the things to note is that it really is very simple to code additional things. Once you've done one thing, you can just use that code and copy it again and again and just change bits of it, like I did with the door code to make Denzel. It's really very easy. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you that it's also simple to just change the item. So we'll select the trigger for the door and we'll move that slightly away from the door using the right mouse key button, and then we'll go back to the draw thing, and if we select the bush of the door, that takes all the properties of it, and we'll change the tile for it to, let's say, a rock. Wherever the rock thing is, there we go. So if we select a rock in there, delete the door and put the rock in. The rock is now bush 2001. Now obviously you can't get past a rock using a key, so we'll also change the key. So we select the key, the bush for the key, and we'll change the key as well to a pickaxe. Delete the key and put the pickaxe in its place. The pickaxe is now object 1000. And then we also need to go into the code, into the game code, which of course I changed from being the right size to fit in the window. Clever me. Right, there we go. Now, so if we go down to the object name, we'll change the key to pickaxe, and we'll change the text for the door to, let me think, and we'll insert a little line break there as well. The other thing is this, we're also removing the pickaxe from the inventory when we've done this. So to make it consistent with the text, we'll put a little thing in there saying that it breaks, and then that makes it consistent with removing it from the inventory. So we'll save that. And the other thing that you may have noticed in the last tutorial was that Denzel and Dizzy, when they were talking to each other, there was no quotation marks around the text. Now this is not too much of a problem, but it's just one of those little detail-y things that helps it stand out from the usual narration. So we'll go back into the game and I'll show you how to add quotation marks, because it's a bit, it's not just a simple case of putting a quotation mark in. The problem is that message 1 tells it to put in that X position and that Y position this message. Now it encases the message in quotation marks. The quotation mark means, basically tells the game anything after that quotation mark up to the next quotation mark is text. So that is all text, with the exception of the line break. Now if we just go and put another couple of quotation marks in there like so, then we'll get an error, because that's saying okay, everything up to the next quotation mark is text. It's then finding the next quotation mark right next to it. So that is then saying okay, end the text and start the code again. The problem is that isn't code, so it'll come up with an error. And indeed, if we save that and go to load the game again, we get an error. It's telling us that there's a game on an error on game.js line 190. And we know where that is. So what we have to do instead is put a backslash in front of it. There. And that tells the game that if there's a quotation mark following the backslash, you use it as text. So it's not part of the code. And we'll put one there as well. So that quotation mark and the backslash is text. The same there. So if we save that now and go back to it, now we don't get an error. The reason the rock isn't there is because we forgot to save the map. So if we go back and save the map, it's quite a common error. There we go. So we've now got a pickaxe. We now use pickaxe on the rock instead of key on a door. Got nothing there. And if we action Denzel, we'll find it's now in quotation marks. The second text won't be because we didn't put it in quotation marks, but it looks a lot better. So that's that little bit of coding dealt with. It's also very easy to get confused with what IDs you've used, what you haven't used, and what's for what. The best thing to do is to keep a record in a notepad document, or just on a scrap of paper, or just keep a record somewhere, because otherwise you'll come to do something and you'll be crying out because you forgot to note down what everything is. Right, I haven't got too much time left on this tutorial, so I think I'll end it there.